Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology update for October 28th through November 4th, 2024. Wow, we are in such a powerful time. Everybody can feel it. And the astrology is explaining this to us, showing us what these energies are all about. We're heading into the Scorpio new moon, and that happens on Friday, November 1st. The activation will be Thursday, October 31st at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So I hope you can join us for that Scorpio new moon activation. Very powerful energies. This happens at 9 degrees of Scorpio, 35 minutes. And there's some powerful energies to this. 9 is a number of completion. And yeah, it's a new moon in Scorpio, but Scorpio is about going into the darkness. And so everything is saying that we're trying to bring the dark into the light. It is such an interesting and dynamic time for this new moon because all of our personal planets will be in tension transits with our big player planets. And so let's kind of talk this through. We've got Venus coming up into square with Saturn. Actually, that's exact today, tomorrow. Venus in Sagittarius, speaking to the divine feminine dream. Sagittarius is about seeing the wider horizon, the bigger picture, pushing to the future, opening up to new ideas, and to ultimately the vision, the quest, and the dream. So with Venus and Sag, it's about the dream of the divine feminine, the dream of Earth. She is this beautiful goddess manifest, and she wants us to begin to work with her more deliberately. And this is the energy of moving into this new age. So Saturn in Sagittarius is Venus, Venus in Sagittarius is like just coming up to the top of the mountain. I see it. There's lots of realization energy coming forward. And Venus, this is about seeing the bigger picture of the role of the feminine throughout our whole evolution, understanding that we've got to undo and rewrite the stories if we're ever going to get anywhere from here. And that all has to do with reintegrating the feminine mysteries, magic, and miracles, and emotionality and power back into our life, into our world. And it's like the mother is asking us to talk to her, listen to her through our body. We are her body is our body. And yet, if we are suppressed in our emotions and our energies in our life, like most of us are, just getting through, going through the motions, surviving that next day, we can never hear and feel the voice of the mother, the solutions, the love, the comfort, the care that's available for us. When we're constantly in survival mode, just trying to survive, then you can never dream. And this Venus and Sag says, hey, you guys, wait a minute. Wait, it's real. It really was there all along. Can you feel it? Like, yeah, this is so much more, so much bigger, so much more beautiful. Like, we have been trapped in lower dimensionality for so long. And so Venus is in a square with Saturn in Pisces. And so it's the divine feminine dream, the mother's dream, the bigger vision of what this earth wants to become in attention transit square to Saturn in Pisces. Now, Saturn is retrograde in Pisces, and we've gotten the message that Saturn in Pisces is about rewriting and the Piscean age, like rewriting the timeline. You know, Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Now, it's powerful because this Venus square Saturn will resolve on the 30th, and then what will happen after that is that the sun just coming out of this new moon, so this new moon is on Friday, November 1st, and then on the 4th, the sun will be in exact trine with Saturn, because Saturn is at moving from 13 degrees to 12 degrees this week, and the new moon is happening at 9 degrees Scorpio. So that means that the sun and the moon will be in a trine. So first the moon, because the moon moves faster. So right after the new moon, the moon will be trining up with Saturn, and then the sun will trine up with Saturn. We'll start to feel that on the 1st. It happens exact on the 4th, and it will go through the energy will continue through the 7th of November. So the whole first week of November, we've got this very powerful trine. So first, Venus coming into square with Saturn saying, gotta get it her way now, gotta get it right. And it fits everything we've been talking about this timeline, because what it feels like is the energy is that we've wound way into the old, because we got Pluto for the last dip into Capricorn, Saturn in Pisces retrograde, and it's like we got to go into the old stories in order so that we can clear them and then move in and drop them for good so that we can move into the new age, the future, unencumbered. And it's so intense right now, supernova souls, because we've got some stories, right? We've been through some shit, and it's all on the table. But this is the powerful energy of the lining up of this time, is that it's showing us that the bigger view that's available is kind of, and maybe this has to do with Venus and Sag. Venus will go on to let's see. So Venus will square up with Neptune on the 18th of November. So just continuing through this saga. And so, but right now, Venus square Saturn, that's just going to last for the next couple of days. But then we move right into that Sun and trine Saturn. So it's like shifting it all around. So Saturn is turning direct on the 16th of November. And that is kind of feels like where we're going to start, where we've already stopped. We're in 0 point. And then when Saturn turns direct, we already have Pluto direct, but Pluto won't go back into Aquarius until the 20th of November. So when Saturn turns direct on the 16th of November, it's like we're ratcheting it back the other way, our whole reality. Like literally the nightmare is over. And this is one of the most difficult things for us right now, supernova souls. A message coming through the mother that says the hardest part is to allow, because we've been so used to the forces working against us, but we need to be ready, like at the gate, ready to go, because we know that we're the ones ushering in this new age. We know that we're the ones that were there to experience her original vision. And so we know that we're the ones that are on the cutting edge, leading humanity in spiritual ascension. So we've got to be ready to go right out of the gate, except for that the energy changes completely 180-degree turn from like everything working against you as a spiritual being. The more power you have, the more obstacles. That's been the game of Saturn so far. And now what if we're moving into this, like Saturn being like, oh, okay, we're going to build and support the new paradigm. That's what the energy's for. You can feel it. They've been trying, the trauma drama team has been trying to create more trauma drama. And it's like you can feel the mother's timeline landing, being like, yo, it's just not energy for that. We're not going down that path. We're going to harmonize that storm. We're going to help the people. We're going to make, we're going to take all the disaster energy they can possibly come up with and shift it. Use the energy of that to boomerang. And that's kind of, gosh, it's like there's so many mysteries coming forward, which I think has to do with this Saturn in Pisces and Saturn turning direct. And this reworking and getting ready for things to work with us. Now, this goes back to and connected to the big realizations that are coming, because the big realizations have to do with being able to step way far back or high up, to get new perspective, to say like, oh, one of the things that's been going on for supernova souls is like everything triggering you into your core wound. And it's like, how much woundedness are we supposed to experience? Like, what is the point of this? And then the woundedness keeps us, the deal. So the woundedness and the trauma are designed to keep us in a loop of the same. And so all we have to do is push and trigger, and then we'll go right back into our trauma loop. Oh, sound familiar? How much of our lives have we been saying, well, when I get this figured out, then I can go on with my life, then I can live. when I get this money for this bill, when I can figure out a better job, when I get a better house, when I finally get that car, then I can relax. And it's like, oh, see how they got us. Because the only time we ever really have is the moment. And that's the message of the mother. Capture back your life, capture back your consciousness, capture back your soul by capturing back your moment. There's always something to worry about. Do you know how you'll like look back in your journal sometimes and like years later and it's like, I can't believe I'm still feeling the same freaking way. Like different situation, same exact feelings. Well, when I get through this, then it's like, no, right now, then, because mom's with me right now, then doesn't matter. Only right now. Because the whole trap of this reality is that they don't want us to know the most secret information throughout time has been about our ability to create our own reality through our consciousness. We are God particles. And then through the Atlantean catastrophe, they scared us away from ever going near this co-creative power. But we're starting to figure out, starting to see clearly that those were directed energy weapons, just like the trauma drama today. And can we believe in the message from the mother that says that all of the catastrophes that caused mass casualties were man-made? We have some belief system that mother's punishing us or expressing the darkness in our consciousness, and that is not true. The weather is completely manipulated. Global warming, let's talk about weather manipulation. Like how can we talk about global warming and tax credits? We can't talk about weather manipulation that's been going on for so long. And guess what? They're not just manipulating the weather. They've been manipulating us, all of us, but especially supernova souls, all the way back to Atlantean time, where they set us up to think that we caused those catastrophes. So once we can believe deep in our heart and soul and get this message out to the people and they can start to feel the mother's love, we are loved, we are cared for. Now, this is a powerful thing that when we're talking about the feminine, we're talking about the mother, we're talking about the feminine in all of us that's been disgraced, ignored, damaged, abused, and cut out of the story. And so we all have to come back to the feminine. This is not men and women, right? Because that asshole guy was you in your past life, right? And that manipulative woman was you in your past life. We've all played these roles. And you know what? These roles are patterned, imprinted, programmed generationally. So that's part of what you're dealing with. And you know you're a rock star. Did you know that you came here and have the ability and are doing right now, clearing thousands of years of programming in your lineage? You're so badass. And this is part of the realization, the bigger perspective of what got us here. And like, so going back to those core issues being triggered, because this is the astrology right now. All of our personal planets, Venus square Saturn, Mercury opposite Uranus, Mars opposite Pluto. All of our personal planets in tension transits with the big player planets. And what that says is that it's coming home. This big play that's happening out there has not yet made it to our everyday reality. And now it's hitting home, careening in. That's what this new Scorpio new moon energy, the whole month of November, has like changing gears, right? Like it's glitchy, but it's about landing on the right timeline. So get your head in order. I say, get your head out of your ass, right? Like we've been just so depressed, so lost, so alone. And it's like, yeah, because that's exactly where they want us. But back to this bigger picture, okay? Because our traumas are getting triggered. And, but the traumas that are triggered, those are the key things that have kept us small, playing small and scared and incapable of coming into our power. So that means that the core wound that continues to get triggered right now has the absolute key, and that's Chiron. Chiron has a key shape. The insignia for Chiron is a key shape, and it really does hold the key. So we're in this era right now of Chiron in Aries, and Chiron is our deepest wounds over many evolutions. But get this, that wound shows you why you like ultimately what you wanted to accomplish. So it feels like we've been going, and we have been, all these forces, the Saturn black box, the absconding of physical reality to keep us trapped. That's real. It's been happening for a long time. And so we're going up against these forces that are against us. The light against the mother, against the feminine, against the good, against the truth, against the healing. And so we won't back down though. And that's what's made this evolution so difficult for us. And so, but we have to see the bigger picture that the core wound also has inside out and backwards. It has our mission and greater purpose unfolded in it. So, whatever is that deepest wound, that's what you came to bring humanity to heal, and bring humanity to healing on that. Like, that's your greater, bigger purpose. And that's what's happening, realizations right now. Like, what if you climbed to the top of the mountain, metaphorically, in your life, and you were like, whoa, and we're mad at this person, and then the patterns are playing out, and you're like mad at that person for playing out the patterns, and the patterns just playing out, and then you're like, I'm back here in this messed up situation again, and all these horrible things have happened to you, and all the forces have worked against you, and you're exhausted, and yada, yada, yada. But there's a massive realization coming, and this might be the key, okay? Because we've gotten the message all along that for awakening to happen for the masses, they have to face truth. And we have to face a lot of dark truths too. And that would bring down our consciousness quite a bit. Like, that would be really depressing. It's going to be really depressing. So we can't really face the darkest truths until we're free. And that's what we've been working on. And when humanity's consciousness is free, and I believe we're there. We're still entangled, and the parasitic energies will feed on you and use you until you're done, but we have an ability to set ourselves free right now that we haven't had. And this is part of this unwinding into the new timeline, right? It's like we've ratcheted to a close, and now we got to ratchet back out, and blah, 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 it's like we went into the cave and on some sort of journey for the last 5 years, and now we're getting dropped back off, something like that. Who knows? But can you be open to these greater realizations that make it all make sense, and then you can find forgiveness in what you've been playing out? And because it's like when we see the deeper dynamics and the greater story, then it's easier to forgive. It's not okay you were treated this way, and you would never treat anybody that way. And I'm so sorry that it's been so hard for you, and everything's worked against you. But it's kind of part of the realization is that it's part of the whole story to have these forces that work against us, because they are approved by Creator, you could say, to push us into Christ consciousness, to push us into our evolution. And that's this feeling like there's no getting out of this, because it's not about this. You can solve the next problem in your life. You're never going to get out of this until we grab the moment. And we grab the moment by allowing, healing, doing whatever we can do to support joy in our lives with each other and the joy of the present moment. And that's when you feel the mother around you. It's so different to be from being in scarcity, poverty consciousness, where it's just like survival, survival, survival. You can't dream. You can't dream and create from that place, And, but then to go where we're bringing humanity is loved and held and cared for. Like, you feel it. Her arms around you. So that's the way we get through this hump of this 180-degree turn. We got to be ready at the gate. It's the mother's arms. And you find the mother's arms when you've been beaten down on the ground, and just trying to, in that survival mode, this trauma. And we've all been there. And this is part of our journey too, right? It's just like, wait a minute, I've got nothing. And somebody just beat me up. Somehow I'm here. The warmth. Why do we never wonder how the animals can survive in sub-zero temperatures? Just fine. That's the mother's love. It is a mantle of protection. We've lost this. When that feeling, everybody's talking about it, ground with the earth and, and reset your vibration. And it is so true. But like, what we don't want to just go put our feet on the ground for a few minutes. We want to walk in the mantle of her love, in the pool of her love, in the trust. So each of us individually has to come back to that place. How can we ever bring people back to her if we can't receive her love? But we, in particular, as a soul groups, we're very specifically manipulated away to think that our mother doesn't love us, And this is interesting because a message came through about the feminine. Basically, this message, the feminine in all of us, and therefore Mother Earth too, as an embodiment, and our disconnection from her, feels unrecognized and unappreciated and uncared for. This is how it feels in this dynamic. We all feel uncared for in this world. But really, it's the feminine in us that feels unrecognized, unappreciated, and unheard. That's the deal with Gemini, with Jupiter and Gemini. Ooh, Venus is going to come right into that's what I was looking for earlier. Sorry about that. Venus will be in an opposition with Jupiter in Gemini. So it's the feminine dream opposing Jupiter, expanding the voice. So we can't get back on the feminine dream until we expand the voice and tell the story and listen to her. This is what we found with the water, the work with the water and the consciousness of water, the Dr. Emoto's work with the Water Festival. We're looking at the power of water as consciousness and that it responds to us. So the water crystals show the energy vibration you put in the water will respond. And so we've been shown that you can talk to the waters. You can talk to consciousness. Our body is a huge percentage of water. Can we talk to our body and our water in our body? And can we tell it? But in all this work of talking to the water, what really came through is this very interesting message that the water really actually wants to be heard. The mother wants to be heard. The feminine wants to be heard and seen. There was a feeling of neglect when we talked to the poisoned waters. So the poisoned waters that were once very, very clean, like in Clear Lake, California, that we're working on with our consciousness and technologies to remove the heavy metal poisoning. When we talked to the water said that she feels neglected. So it's this thing of like, okay, we can talk to our consciousness, talk to the water, tell it what we want, but can we listen? Can we hear? Can we reach out? Can we say hi? And this is all the mother wants from us, is communication and love and appreciation. This is all the feminine wants. This is the thing. Why do we put mom's needs last? This is where we're at. And we've run out of everything. If you put mom's needs first, everybody's cared for. So we got to start caring for the feminine within us, listening to the voice, slowing down, moving in a whole new way. Understand we can't manifest and create in the old way. And then, of course, it just comes back to that, really, like the moment and the power of co-creation with her. You're in alignment with her. You can get to it. You don't have to worry about what's happening in your co-creation. It's not your ego. This is where we got stuck, thinking that we had to personally do something to make up for these Atlantean catastrophes. That somehow we got into this thing that it was our dream. And we do have so much talents and skills and purpose and all of that. But that's the thing that's majorly been hanging us up, is that it's not our individual dream. It's a shared dream. Ugh. It's so intense because we're in such this intense place of divide and conquer, and supernova souls have had to do so much to protect yourselves energetically that you like boundary, 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 and then you feel like a total bitch. And yet we're supposed to be seeing everyone as one. But now we have to discriminate what's actually human, because we've actually been infiltrated by entities. And you can see this. Anybody that's not in their body can be a channel for the control energies, for the darkness, for the evil spirits, like for this nasty energy that, it just is not, it's there. I feel like in this last week or so, there's just been a real big shift that like the ultimate clamp of control on our consciousness has been released. We're still working with it. We have to choose our freedom. We have to get comfortable with having our freedom. We have to figure out how to live in freedom, right? We need like some 10 commandments to show us like how to live not as slaves, because that's all we've ever known. And that's part of the retrograde season we're moving into, because on the 7th of November is when Mercury will go into retrograde shadow. Mars is already in retrograde shadow. And so Mercury turns retrograde on the 26th of November. Mars will turn retrograde on the 7th of December. And so it starts this whole long retrograde season that is not resolved until May, April, April, May of next year. So it feels like that's because we went to this place and we were completely rewriting the story, and it's disorienting. If you're going to pop through to your ideal timeline and have everything start to work for you and support you again, it might be more traumatic than everything working against you. And then in our consciousness, we've got this pattern of everything working against us, so we continue to create that, right? While at the same time, the issues are highlighted and everywhere and busting out, like just in our face, our core issues everywhere, right? It's just such an intense time, but you're really intense and powerful. And isn't it time for you to be free? I mean, yeah, we've been talking about where we've been playing host to this oppression, to this parasitic energy, to the negative thinking, and we're like climbing our way out of the deep dark hole. And it's like the only way forward. See, once these controls and we shift in our consciousness, it's like there's only one way forward. So it's adjusting to that one way forward and letting go of the old way of doing things, so we can get all that shrapnel out of the way and we can be ready to move forward. Because coming back to the bigger picture of this whole, it's like these forces came in that were obstructive to human evolution, and that is not evil itself, but it opened the door to the dark forces taking control because of our free will. So the forces that work against us is a gift, giving us free will to come back to the truth of who we really are, which is Christ consciousness. This is a big deal, right? We're trying to awaken and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, oh gosh, what if just like Mother Earth, we got the message she was always Christed? She just got separated. Us too. We were always Christed, supernova souls. So we got to stop fighting and start standing, because we're at this very strange place. Like we're saying, we're trying to have so much compassion and forgiveness and see everybody as our brother. And yet we have got to have boundaries. We've got to stop giving it away. We've got to stand up and say no. And then come with this massive compassion, but also stand up and say, no more doing this to us. Humanity has to stand up. This is the place we're at. And it's like only going to get worse until humanity says, okay, we've had enough now. We can see clearly we've been run by parasites for thousands of years. No more. And we're there. We're so close. We're so close. And the ironic thing about what allows that to happen is really what's going on with the consciousness of supernova souls, and advanced souls. Because the message I got was, I kind of saw this picture that there's so many of us that understand this concept that we can talk to the waters in our body. We can set our vibration. We're in charge. We can co-create all of this knowledge, and yet we haven't been able to implement it because of the nanotech and the vibrational frequencies and the constant oppression and the parasitic energies in our physical body, in our world, right? Because the obstruction forces out there stopped working, so they had to infiltrate from within, and it's messy because we're going, oh man, I'm so depressed, and what's my problem, and I should fix it. It's like detox. And what's happening right now is that I can see, I was shown this picture. It's like all these advanced souls right on the edge of owning their freedom from the oppression in their consciousness. Like, oh, I feel good in the moment, not because of anything, because of me. This is my birthright. I feel good. I feel the mother. I feel connected. I feel high. I feel love. I feel excited. I feel this. When enough of us can maintain that vibration for a short amount of time in our consciousness, it's game over. I don't know if we've gotten there or we're so close, it doesn't matter, or it's coming over the next weeks, but can you do your part to say to hell with all this shit? I'm not going along with their narrative, and screw the job, screw the bills, just everything you've wanted to watch. I mean, of course we want to like just not make it worse for ourselves, but it's a time right now where you've got to put your vibrational consciousness and everything you need to do to support your vibrational consciousness as a top priority. Like, none of this matters. None of this is going to matter as we turn the corner. Everything is going to be completely different. And it's going to happen so fast, and we're going to be the ones harmonizing and helping. And that's why we've gotten our butt kicked. But if it's all about attaining Christ consciousness, what it turns out, we just figured out we already had it. They stole it from us. Like, we already had this. We're on the edge of enlightenment back in Atlantean time. And so all these years, we've just been held back from that threshold place. No wonder we're so stuck at the threshold. And that's where you're going to find the trauma. So the organs that allow us to feel higher consciousness and feel connected are our pineal gland, pituitary gland, and those chakras, the pineal chakra and the crown chakra. And so there has been so much control, and it's really interesting because as I was exploring this awakening, this claiming of peace, claiming of the mother's love, claiming of the moment, that we're in charge. We can tell our bodies and the body of the earth and the waters of the body, we're going to be in alignment with her now, this vibration. Everyone on earth is safe and loved and cared for. And so, but it goes right along with this higher frequency, just us taking back. So when you look at this mechanism, there's a whole bunch of darkness, which is like the nano buildup in the glandular system and the toxicities. It's not just the nano. We got like heavy metals to our whole lives and all these nasty chemicals they've been putting in our food and in the air, And so, there's all this toxicity buildup in the glandular system around the pineal gland. And of course, there's the calcification and all of that. But it's shifting and changing. We saw parasite energy right by there. And we were inviting that parasite energy to reprogram, to reprogram the nano to being loved and cared for and healing, And so it's like I saw a picture of a dark military outfit with very scary weapons guarding your pineal gland. How do you feel about that? Is this the battle you've been in? Is this the cosmic battle we keep hearing about from the Galactic Federation? Oh, God. Right here. And what the picture is that the pineal gland and the pituitary gland were one. Two beautiful petals, flaps. And again, they looked like a flower or, like some sort of opening. And I was trying to figure out, I was like, what is it reminding me of? And then finally I figured out that they looked like lungs, like lobes of lungs, like the way that lungs operate. And I was like, oh, no wonder they've deoxygenated our planet and deoxygenated our bodies. The nano feeds on our energy. And the whole thing with like long COVID and all of that, which is just nanotech, it's harvesting our oxygen and our iron from our blood, so we can't get our oxygen out of the air. So that's really interesting. So our breath, if you can move your breath, and we're going to just go so deep into this in the Owning Your Energetic Field course, which is happening on Thursday, November 7th. And the Owning Your Energetic Field course is installments, individual installments, but you can use them as a series, very powerful series. So go back and get the replays of the chakras that you feel called to work with and to prepare for the November 7th course. So many downloads. It's so exciting, and mysteries we could not see before. And this beautiful thing of taking back from the army of destruction, taking back our permission, our right to breathe into these organs and bring us back into the way we're meant to be as advanced beings, a soul and a body, human soul and a body, aware of itself as consciousness. When the pineal gland awakens and activates, it secretes DMT and oxytocin as part of the chemical profile. Those are the feel-good hormones. And so our ascension is psychedelic. We should be feeling high. And most of us are feeling barely making it, beaten down. And so go find the mother. Go let her hold you. Go let her help you put yourself first and do what you finally need to do to be able to hold that frequency vibration so we can win this thing, And it's like everything about where we've gotten to is block, 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 block. And we know that eventually the blocks have to move and then everything moves, right? That's why it's going to be suddenly, it's going to be fast. It's going to be like a snowball and like a dam breaking. And so we can all kind of feel this kind of trepidation, and it's a very intense time to be alive. But what we're dealing with for this next week through the Scorpio new moon really has to do is telling us everything we need to know. So we talked about how Venus, Mercury, and Mars are all in tension transits with our big players, and the messages that are coming through around this, that it's like a wrench, and that you're going this way, but the square, like Venus is square with Saturn, is going wrench in the works. And then it's like Venus is like, oh, I recognize you. You're the same demonic being that came through my last 4 relationships. There you are again. Yeah. Um, so then we're, so it's like Venus and Saturn have to turn to be able to relate to each other. And that's the turn is Saturn, the timeline, and our physical reality is now her world again, And so we have to understand, going back to this, that like everything in this whole evolution is set up to work against the light so that we can claim back our light. We better do it now while Pluto's still in Capricorn and Saturn's about to turn direct. You see, this is our last chance to like fully claim our consciousness. And we only do that in the moment when we can feel good in the moment for no reason whatsoever. And it's not easy, These gremlins want to, the moment you find peace, they will come and try to get it from you. But they're farming our information, our energy and information, turns out. I mean, this is the thing. We're like, oh, here we are. Like, just this, it's, how can you not see the financial gains that we've been a part of just taxing and stealing our money? And just like, it's starting to become so clear, the racket that is the Federal Reserve, but the energies, the beings that really have had power, these manipulative, lower dimensional, but higher dimensional from us here, but lower dimensional from where we came from, those beings, they don't need money, honey. It's not about the money. They want our energy. And that's so powerful, because it's like, then you can really feel that when enough of us claim our peace from the oppression right here, in true lightness of being. This is what the mother brings. This is the energy of the divine feminine. She says ease, joy, lightness of being. Okay? That's when you're with the mother. That's when you can create. That's when you can manifest. And it's all going to be good. See? It's just time to come out. And if we can come out, if we can just turn inside out, come out of those old stories, it's like, oh, because if you are like, whoa, I'm here, I'm feeling amazing, I made it, I can't wait to get on with the next chapter, you don't give an F about what got you there. And so I think humanity has got to feel better with these higher frequencies before we can face the lies and deceit of what we have to have these truths. But first, we have to ratchet up our consciousness and set humanity free so that they can feel better in their being. Like literally the AI that has a grip on your pineal gland, this energy of negative thinking and distraction and drama and trauma and sadness and depression. It's like that can be turned off with a flick of a switch. And that's what's happening. What are you going to do when you're not a prisoner anymore? When the oppression leaves? Are you going to hold on to the oppression because it's all you know? And it's like, it's like maybe we feel that we deserve that. So this is where we go deep, 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 deep. Is this go all the way back to some feeling inside supernova souls they don't deserve the love of the mother or to be cared for or loved. Like you're not welcome or belong here on earth. That's what they wanted us to think. I know a lot of supernovas have nothing right now, not even a place safe place to lay their head. And yet you have everything. I mean, you're literally going to start glowing. And it's like, okay, who needs gold in money and paper money if we're glowing? Do you see? And this is what this whole season is about, the next 6 months. Because Mars retrograde, Mars is at the end degrees of Cancer. So that's why Mars is coming into this opposition with Pluto here. And that will be on the 2nd, 3rd of November. And then Mars will move over into Leo. And that's when the retrograde is going to start at 6 degrees Leo. So powerful. And Mercury's retrograding back to 6 degrees Sag. And so there's a lot of fire going on. But it's like Mars and Cancer and Leo retrograde is like nurturing ourselves back into shining our light. And that's always sounded kind of good. Yeah, I want to shine my light. I want to be who I'm meant to be. I want to fulfill my purpose. I want to like help people and be of service and all that. But what if shining your light means really actually shining light? Like what if it turns on? I mean, because that would be a part of the thing we've been getting from the mother is that in order for all this to balance, those that have been persecuted, that has to be balanced out. So the spiritual persecution has to be balanced out, and we've all experienced it. And so that would be an interesting way for it to balance out, where it's like, oh, we're not going to wonder about who has the wealth anymore, and what we really need in this world. The golden glow, you know? So, wow. And so these are the realizations that are coming. And this is the energy of Mercury opposite Uranus. Okay, so Venus square Saturn, the mother and the timeline are at odds. And it's got the wrench in the works. It's got to get worked out. And that's the feminine dream and the story, because Sagittarius is the story. And this feminine story in the dream has never been told. It's the greatest story never fully told because we forgot the feminine. And this is so that's this Mars square Saturn, right? Showdown on the timeline. And then we got Mercury in Scorpio still, opposite of Uranus. That's going to be on the 30th and 31st. And so exact for that new moon. And Mercury in Scorpio Mercury is about understanding better and realizations. That's why this is the energy, because Uranus is our high. So when Mercury and Uranus interact, because Uranus is like our higher mind that we can't always access, our higher consciousness. And then, Uranus is our higher consciousness. Mercury is our everyday consciousness. So when Mercury and Uranus interact, it's like downloads, realizations. It's finally getting through. I'm finally seeing the truth. And that's exactly the deal with these personal planets hanging out, in intention transits with our transpersonal planets. So Mercury and Scorpio is saying that we have been stuck in the darkness because of our advanced technologies. And so when we're realizing the new timeline, we're realizing who we are, this is what this is about. It's understanding the true intuitive power of the supernova soul, of the human, the potential of human consciousness. It's like, wow. So realizations can come, so many different ways, so many different levels, so many different topics, just into your life. Like, wow, all of a sudden this issue that never made sense finally makes sense and I can let it go. That's so cool. And it's all about feeling worthy of our higher power. Coming back to that, Uranus and Taurus. And that's us like, well, yeah, so we have that, but do we deserve it? Are we good enough? Can we handle it? And that's everything we've been working through for these last years. So then Mars comes into opposition with Pluto. We're already feeling this as of the 25th. Actually, it's exact on the 2nd and 3rd of November. Mars at the end of Cancer, 29. Pluto, 29, Capricorn. And so we've got a showdown also of our warrior for the mother going up against the laws and rules of the past and control-based, patriarchal-based laws and rules, And so Mars is like, we don't need your permission to come back to the mother's love, you know? And that's a mantra. That's a great mantra. Whatever's going on for you, I'm protected by the mother's love. I walk with the mother's love, you know? And she will be there for you. It might not seem like it because we're in rapid. And so it's like, okay, I'm still learning. Mom, I'm still learning. Be with me. Help me through this. I'm still learning. I'm not going to give up. We're being asked to show up fully and completely in service. Your life might not be easy right now. There's a lot of work to be done. And it's kind of like we're, getting strong nudges from mom, right? And it's like, she's like, I'm here with you, but you got to keep doing the work. Do not fall back in these old patterns. Show up and keep loving. Yes, it hurts. Yes, you feel vulnerable. Yes, you feel afraid. Yes, you feel alone. You feel rejected. Oh, supernova souls are going through a lot of triggering of like everybody turning against you. Oh gosh, it's just such a intense time of feeling like just how the feminine feels, huh? Because that's us. If we represented intuitive knowledge and wisdom and healing, then we represented the feminine, and we were goddess worshiping the whole time through this whole evolution. And so we're feeling unrecognized and unappreciated. And isn't it hard? It's like when sometimes you think about the wave showing up for people and for this world, and just you keep showing up and nobody's ever been there for you. Nobody's ever really liked you. They might want you around for what you offer, but they reject your light. And then you come into it more, and it's just a really uncomfortable place because right now because the patterns are repeating, we got to up our game. And it's so confusing because it's like, wait a minute, I've given so much, I've given myself away and I got to give more. And it's like, how do we show up in service and fully committed to this and not give ourselves away? Because that's been the problem all along too. And that comes back to our self-care, being like, the most important thing is for me to stay in this vibration because I've got a team out there and we're all right there at the threshold, about to have the critical mass of positive, awesome vibrations. And it's game over for the dark side. And I got to do that only. And what's going to show up is people that are going to distract you. They want your energy. They're going to want you to do this. They're going to want you to talk to them. They're going to want you to get in your trouble. They're going to want you to lower your vibration. They're going to want you to be in fear and about what's happening in the world. And it's like, oh, I have an appointment to get to. It's with the mother. I feel my vibration going down and she wants me up there. You can join me, but I'm out of here. Walk away. And yet, can we do it with compassion? Like, I love you so much, but I'm going to self-preserve. This is what we haven't, if we maybe that's our deal. Like, we haven't felt worthy enough to be who we are and be whole and complete. And so we have not had the power to self-preserve. And that's how we've gotten chopped into pieces. But we're putting ourselves back together. And this has been most of the problem in your life, is that you're not whole and complete. And we've gotten these messages like, we've been working to shift the consciousness on Earth, to invite in these master beings that are incarnating their energy just by being here, just by existing, their first breath, changing the vibration of the planet so that we can fully incarnate as who we are. And so that's a big part of what's happening too. And maybe that's why we're like, oh, because if you look at the astrology, Mars retrogrades are never fun. And then you got a Mercury retrograde going in. The way it's set up this time, it's like, usually you'll have Mercury retrograde at the same time as Mars, but this is like you got Mercury at the beginning, retrograde Mercury at the end, making it 5 months of intense retrograde energy. But don't we need it to rewrite this story and rearrange our life to be ready to really go when those forces that have been working against the light are neutralized? And we're doing this in our consciousness, right? So when we neutralize these, when we go, wait a minute, there's a bigger picture, I'm finding forgiveness. Yeah, I went through hell, but it got me here. And then we can forgive and neutralize. And that's the opposing forces going away. And it's so powerful. Do not miss these moments. You've been trying to get through. Am I going to make it through election season, right? And it's like, do not miss these moments. That's what they want. That's what they're trying to do, is distract us from these intense and powerful moments. So going back to these transits going on, Mercury opposite Uranus, learning and understanding, really having strong realization about the power that's within you. You can't get away from it. You've tried for long enough and you can't get out. The only way out is in. It'd be really who we are here. The ascension process is actually an incarnation process of bringing heaven to earth. And so I'm sorry you haven't had safe haven here. And here you are bringing heaven. Thank you. And so the other transit is Mars opposite Pluto at the end degrees of Cancer. And the warrior is ramping up. And he's like, come on, I'm with the mother now. Let's do it right finally. Can we just get on with the story? And Pluto, the last of the old guard, standing, And this is what life feels like for a lot of supernova souls right now. It's like, try to go this way. Nope. Technology won't. Nope. Glitchy. Just can't go this way. Can't go this way. I was like, well, maybe it is because we're already in the roundhouse and we have to wait for the right direction. You don't know where you are when you're in we'll say in the roundhouse, like the train going to find the new direction. We're completely disoriented. We don't know where we came from or where we're going yet. And yet we know why we are here. Or we're starting to figure out, because that's the place that these energies are bringing us. It's like, what is the freaking point? I was like, oh. Mhm. And then can we be like, thank you, forces, for working against me in such ways that I barely survived over and over again? I went through hell and back and trauma and drama. Thank you over all those lifetimes, because guess what? I'm free now. I got my soul back. I got my wholeness. And the next chapter is amazing for us. Like, so fun. So fun. So much better and amazing than you can even imagine. So hold tight with this glitchy back and forth. It's like we're trying to find the right track. It's just going to be like this for a little while, and we'll just see how this plays out. So let's really take advantage of the sun and the moon and trine to Saturn, because that's this harmonizing thing. It's just like, oh, yeah, now our world has to support who we really are in our expression. And that's powerful. And what the power that we have has been turned to darkness. And that's why the Scorpio energy is so important for us to claim back our light from the darkness, claim back our energy from under the rubble, from all these stories that were just stories, because what happened with our mission and purpose is like, we got to make up for something. We got to save the world. We got to this and that. And it's just like, oh, not your mission and not your purpose. It's not yours. It's all of ours. And it's way bigger and it's way better. And we're like, like, so all these things go away, but we're still on the track, like running on the conveyor belt, in the old patterns. It's like they're going to play out until we don't need them anymore. Because if they just fall away, we might go crazy. Oh, what an interesting and strange time we live in. But you're going through all of this because you're going to be helping people, and you're going to be doing it in joy and full satisfaction and love. And just, can we get into that energy of being excited about what's coming? you know, set our vibration there. It's the only way. We can't be these huge, magnificent beings that we're finding out and just stay trapped here. Like, it's not going to work. One of us is going to turn their light on and it's game over. That's what we got. One supernova soul coming into their full potential. Game over for this game. Doesn't mean we all have to get to Christ consciousness. Just one of us. Wow. And yet we came together as a group to do it together this time. So very powerful times that we're living in and so dynamic. So this is the energy of this next week. The bigger timeline of the mother's timeline and the way it has to go, careening in to our personal life, our personal planets, and being like, oh, it's a little disorienting. You might feel like you've lost your sense of space and where you're at in life. It's okay, you know. Just the most important thing is to attempt to find joy. And it's just, isn't it funny? I mean, you could really piss some people off right now. Go into a heated political conversation and just start, bringing the love and the light and just like bringing it back to the spiritual and getting excited about what's really happening. They get really pissed. So a lot of energies and people like still need to hold on to the monsters, to the demons, to the parasites. We've all been infected with it. All of us, you know, literally beings taking over our body. And it's our body. You have to be like, this is my body. And I claim it back. Self-preserve. That's the Chiron in Aries, is the self-preservation. We got to the life or death place, and now we have to take everything to self-preserve. In our self-preservation, in our radical self-care, our loving ourselves enough to give ourselves what we need, that's how we take back the earth. Self-preservation. So go out there and take care of yourself and love yourself and keep doing all the great things you're doing to take care of others too. And thank you so much for doing the mother's work and never giving up on her. May you feel her love surrounding you and anchoring that in. That's like, this is real. You're a part of it. And you're coming home. We're coming home. We're bringing them home. Thank you for all your hard work and going through all you've gone through. And so, very powerful and dynamic week of astrology. And we'll see what happens as we lead up to just massive shifting and changing in our world. And like, we're really going to feel that. Well, the first thing, Mars moving into Leo, Saturn turning direct, Pluto moving into Aquarius. And it's interesting because we're like, whoa, and then Mercury retrograde. So Mercury goes into shadow on the 7th of November. And so then it's kind of like grinding to a halt. It's like we're taking this big leap, and then where we thought we were landing is not there anymore. And we have to tread water and learn to swim again and fly, perhaps. Because mom's got us. So let's enjoy the ride. And so be open to these massive and powerful realizations that help you just go dropping it all. Thanks for getting me here. And no more abuse. I've made it. I've had enough now. But thank you for getting here. I forgive you. I love you. Now I'm going to go back to my God, which is your God, which is the goddess, our body, our existence here. And so spend time with your God and your higher self, your love, the mother, whatever it is, Yeshua, like, just spend time with that energy and remind yourself, reach out to these masters that are coming into bodies right now, and what they have to tell us. Maybe that's part of the realizations. Can you imagine all these masters that have been like, can you guys just get your shit together down there? And they're like, I guess we got to go in, but it's going to be fun because we're all going to be there together, and there's no holding this train back now. All these masters incarnating right now, and there were already a lot on the earth. And so I think as they're entering in and incarnating, they are going to come into an availability for us that's different, right? Than like being in the a guide from that's not incarnated. So we should be open to that, to these connections, realizations, to these pointings, to finding these children and identifying this impulse, and celebrating and honoring it. So very powerful times. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for your support. I'm excited to invite you to the reconfigured Supernova Soul Tribe membership. It's $20 a month, and that gets you into the new and full moon activation. So great to be a part of these events, even if you can't make it live or can't make it at all. Your energy there supports everyone and all of us. So also there's resources for Supernova Souls, and we'll have regular updates and Zoom calls, chats, and communications with our main goal of networking locally and coming together in person for Supernova events, because it's time. And we're poised. It's been hard to keep it all together. I know you guys know. But wow, somehow we did it. We're together, we're connected, and we're poised to be a very important organization moving forward in humanitarian projects. So I hope you'll consider joining that Supernova Soul Tribe and being with us. The activations are $15 by themselves. And the next one, like I said, is going to be Thursday, October 31st, for that Scorpio new moon. So thank you so much for being with us, for your support, for being here, for doing all you've done to get here, and for being present with this work and these teachings. It means so much to me to know you're out there and that you didn't give up. And now we get to celebrate. It's a powerful day today. I did take a note that Mercury is at 12 degrees of Scorpio. Venus is at 12 degrees of Sag. Mercury is at 21 degrees of Scorpio, and Saturn's at 12 degrees Pisces, and that Venus-Saturn opposition. And so 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's do it. That's the energy, the message coming in. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for being there. You are doing so much energy work to harmonize this process and this shift. We couldn't do it without you, Supernova Soul. May you feel honored, recognized, and appreciated for who you are and all you've done. We're not doing it for that, right? But we can't really continue if we're not. So we have to be ready to receive appreciation. And it's weird. That's a weird thought. You know? Oh, so thanks, Supernova Souls. I love you so much. I look forward to connecting with you soon, hopefully on that new moon activation on Thursday, or the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.